What's good with the BlakGooseTV family? You already know what it is when it comes to this motherfucker, man. Double salute up in this game. I hope y'all blessed and not stressed. Hopefully your Tuesday's going absolutely amazing. We got a reaction video coming up in this motherfucker when it comes to the Black Goose side of the game. Look, this is going to be a different reaction video because I am going to tell you guys, I have not watched this yet, right? I have not watched this new workout footage when it comes to Hasim Rahman Jr.'s training, getting ready for the Jake Paul fight. You know, he was a last minute replacement, all that stuff. He's the talk of the town, him and Jake Paul, etc., etc. I am going to watch this and I'm going to tell you every reason why he will get knocked out by Jake Paul. This is no disrespect to Hasim Rahman Jr. I think he's a solid boxer. I think he has a skill set that is solid as well. But just from my research, what I've seen from footage already out there, if the thing that is going to bite him in the ass is going to bite him in the ass, it's not his skill level. It's not his amateur level. It's not that he's been doing this since he was 12. It's not that his pops was a legend. It's not that he doesn't know how to box because he can do all of that. The dude knows how to box. He's legitimate. He's legit. Look at his record. Look at his amateur career. I don't give a fuck what his opponent's records were, whatever the case may be. Especially if y'all ain't been in the ring, you can't criticize. Oh well, he was fighting opponents who were 2-12. That don't matter. He was in there and he didn't lose to anyone until he fought someone with a 19-0, 18, 17 KOs record, right? And we're talking about Tommy Morrison's son. So obviously he is a very solid prospect when it comes to on a lower tier level of boxing, right? He's the perfect guy you call when you have someone that you put a lot of money behind and you're like, hey, yo, I want you to fight him when he has 6 fights. You see where I'm going with this? Look, Hasim Rahman Jr., you're a beast, dog. But if there's anything that I can tell that's going to be your downfall when it comes to this fight, it's not the natural ability. It's not the genetic ability you got from your pops. It's not the talent. It's not the athleticism. It's not your boxing ability. None of that shit is going to let you down. You know what's going to let you down? What is the first thing you hear when you go into the old school gyms when it comes to boxing? Right? What's the first thing you hear? And I might butcher this, but talent does not beat hard work. Hard work always beats talent. And if there's one thing that I noticed from Hasim Rahman Jr. is you got all the talent, but my dog, you ain't got that heart to put in the real work on a consistent basis. That's what Jake Paul has. Jake Paul has something on his shoulder where he's like, nigga, I'm going to come in every day and I'm going to prove to y'all I ain't that motherfucker that y'all try to say I am. Rahman Jr. never had that because his daddy was that nigga. So he was right into boxing. So he was there was expectations that need to be filled. When you get to 7 to 8 wins with KOs, 100 amateur wins with only 7 losses, I know it to a lot of you boxing fans, you're like, well, you haven't accomplished anything. You haven't won a world title. You haven't made millions. To a son of a great, that's already doing good, nigga. And y'all will never understand that. So when I heard the press conference, and the first thing his pop said, or excuse me, not the first thing his pop said, but his response to, what do you think about Rahman Jr.'s work ethic, etc. He said, I feel like he always, he never put in enough work. That tells me that Rahman Jr. is naturally a lazy person, and he's been given a lot of the shit that he's never had to work for anything. And that's the difference between him and Jake Paul. A lot of people look at Jake Paul and it's like, oh, he was given everything. He just got into boxing, so he's making millions. He wasn't given that damn YouTube career. He wasn't given that damn Disney career. Like maybe, yeah, okay, there was connections. There were certain things, relationships that happened. But at the end of the day, for him to sustain it and continue to do what he did, he had to work hard to get it. You know what I'm saying? He's not from something where you can look at his lineage and say, oh, well, you were already from this great, whatever the case may be. So there's a natural, I need to work hard to prove myself in him in comparison to Hasim Rahman Jr., where I do not see that. Now, I said all that and I ain't started the video. So let's go ahead and get into this video. And I am going to break down all the things I see and why Rahman Jr. as much as I respect him, as much as I respect his father, he's going to get knocked out in my personal opinion. Now, with that being said, before we get into this reaction video, hit the like button or the dislike button, whatever the case may be. I don't know how y'all feeling about this so far. Subscribe to the channel if you're not part of BlakGooseTV family, man. Don't be scared to subscribe, man. We're trying to get the road for 5K, and so far, y'all ain't fucking with me, man. Fuck with your boy. Subscribe to the channel. Notification gang as always. Now let's get into this motherfucking video, and I'm going to give you all the reasons why Jake Paul chose Rahman Jr. Now, remember, too, at the beginning of this new training footage, he's orthodox. Remember what he kept saying? His excuse for the sparring with Jake Paul was, y'all made me fight orthodox, but I'm really a southpaw. Look into his fights, look into his training. He's not naturally a southpaw. The dude switches stances all the time. I'm not sure if he's left-handed or right-handed. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. So you jab. Jab first. Pop. Pop. Yeah. Do it again. Jab. Think. There you go. Do it again. Jab. Think. Right to the left hook right there. Back to the body. There you go.
Okay, so I'm just gonna break this down right off the bat. He's 12-1. He's had over 100 amateur careers, and he's having trouble being able to incorporate a feint after the jab. He's telling him, I want you to jab, I want you to feint the jab, and then throw the hook. It should be that simple, guys. It should be that simple. So you know what this tells me from Rahman Jr. is he's constantly and continuously fought at a weight class that has not allowed him to be in the best shape of his life. He's always fought at a weight class that he can comfortably make, which is heavyweight. Dude is 6'2". It says 6'3", 6'4". He's not that because he's not taller than Logan Paul. Logan Paul's only 6'2". So he's like 6'1.5", 6'2". This guy should be fighting at light heavyweight. So that tells you his work ethic right there. There's no reason he should be that slow. There's no reason you should be like, oh, you want me to jab and then what? That's not a feint. You don't jab. That's not a feint. You jab, you feint, and then you throw the hook. So that's the problem for me right there. And look, I'm telling you guys right now, like I'm bigger than Rahman Jr. And height size, maybe waist size. I'm not, but ain't no way I should be able to understand a dude who don't got no amateur fights that he's saying jab, feint, and then throw the hook right after. It ain't jab. Like look how nonchalant he is throwing it. He's like, okay, jab. No, nigga, you should be like quick. That's my personal opinion. So right off the bat, right there, it's showing his work ethic and how much seriousness he puts into each thing he's being told. And a lot of y'all would say, well, it's just mitts. He's going through the motions. No, nigga, this ain't just mitts, nigga. This at the point that he should be at right now, getting ready. He's what, 4 or 5 weeks out from the actual fight happening? Was it like August 9th or some shit like that? And he looks too heavy. He looks like he needs to lose more weight. So I'm not sure when this was filmed, but he looks too heavy.
Quick.
You can't be that heavy and not have power.
There you go.
Looks slow. Look how slow he looks.
That's it.
Looks super slow. When he's throwing out that right hand, he's leaning with it, which you would expect someone with as many amateur fights as he would. He wouldn't be leaning at it with it. It would be coming out clean, and he would just be switching shoulders. That's how you properly throw it right. He's leaning with it. He's going like this. So he's taking away his distance, which means that Jake Paul is going to be able to counter off of that slow-ass right hand and throw his own and be able to catch him. There's no way you should be 12 with one loss and you're throwing your right hand like this. The right hand should be coming off like this. Boom. Not boom. Boom. You can tell every time I'm coming off with the right hand doing it that way because I'm leaning first and then I'm throwing. It should just be coming off. Boom. Boom. I should just be switching the shoulders. That's it. And Rahman is not doing that. He does not look in good shape right here. I'm just being 100. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can say whatever y'all want. Hey, look how nonchalant he is throwing that right hand. Look at the jab. Jab is lazy. His defense is lazy.
Turn over.
He looks way too heavy.
That's good. Do it again. Okay. Bring it up. Do it again. Do it again. The right hand up. Do it again. Quick. There you go. Do it again.
And so I don't think maybe you guys are understanding. You may, because you guys are hardcore fans just like myself. I don't think you're understanding what the mitt guy is doing is when he's throwing the mitts. He's like boom, boom, throw the let's say throw a 3-2, right? So say I'm holding the mitts, throw the 2, 3. I follow the mitts with him, and then what I do as a mitt guy is I'll touch him, right? Because I'm touching him because I'm telling him After you threw that 2-3, 3-2, whatever the combination may be, I'm in range of you still. So if I can touch your arm, I'm in range to return back a counter punch of either a right hand or a left hook. I should not be able to touch your arm, especially your elbow, when after you throw the hook. Immediately after you throw, whether it's the 2-3, whether it's the 3-2, as soon as I come to touch your arm, I should take a step back and I should touch it with my hand. Because if you're touching my hand, you have to go across all of this to get to my face. If you're touching me here, think about how easy it is to counter. You're taking away the distance. So I'm noticing from Rahman Jr., he has no understanding of distance after he throws the punches. So what's telling me is he'll throw a combination, which we've seen in his fights, and he's going to be exactly right there after the combinations to be countered or hit with anything, because he doesn't move out of the way. He doesn't understand range. He doesn't understand distance. He's just kind of in front of you. He throws and he just plods forward somewhat slow. So let's get back in there.
Right. There you go.
For as big as he is, you should be punching harder than this. I don't know when this was in the workout.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have put this out. I don't know who said this is a good idea to put this out. I will say this: previous footage I've seen of Rahman Jr., this is the most I've seen him keep his hands down. He tends to keep his hands down.
Drop down. Like
there's no way he should be trying to teach him this at the level he's at. So he doesn't even understand the concept of a feint of a jab, right? So say the mitt, say the mitt is the screen. Say the mitt is this, right? So if I'm hitting the mitt with my jab, I'm coming, boom, right? You see, I went through it. I turned it all the way over. If you look at my fist, I got the. See that? I got the thumb pointing down, right? So a feint with the jab to come with the right would be boom, boom. You see, I barely even brought it up. And then right after I'm coming over, right? Or if I'm fighting a taller opponent, I'm barely coming up. And then right after I'm coming over the top, right? His feints are so slow. He's going like this. And then he's throwing. His feints are telegraphing his next move. Your feints are supposed to be subtle. You know what I'm saying? They're supposed to be subtle where you can't see him coming. Every feint that he's showing is a telegraph to be like, this is what I'm finna throw, Jake. So knock me out before I throw it. I'm telling y'all, man. I told y'all I was finna break this shit down. I was gonna tell you why my man's getting knocked out. Sorry. It's frustrating. I'm sorry I keep stopping this. Nigga, is this a feint? This is you blocking. This is a block, nigga. You need a feint with the jab. You need to bring it out. If I'm really throwing the jab, but that's because he doesn't know how to properly throw a jab. If you were watching him throw the jab, he wasn't properly throwing it. And this is what I give Jake Paul. Even though Jake Paul may look novice, however the fuck you want to say it, even though he doesn't throw a lot of combinations, what I've noticed, what he's very keen on is doing the fundamentals right, which means when I throw a jab, it's coming all the way out, which a lot of times when you're 2-3 years in, when you're focusing on making sure you can use your range and everything is coming across, it can come off looking slow, but in real time, when you're in there with the ring, it's hard to predict because you're not telegraphing your punches. So if I'm coming, I'm like, that takes a lot longer than boom, 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 right? Because that's not everything. This is quicker. Boom, boom, boom. You see how quick that was? But my jab only came out here. My right hand only came out here. My left hook only came out here. In comparison to what I see Jake doing, which you practice the fundamentals first, so later on you can have moments where you go boom, boom, boom. This setup, boom, boom, boom. Right? You have those in your field, in your toolbox. Raheem Jr., you can see his fundamentals are they're not very good. He understands boxing. He understands how to keep your feet, defense, throw punches, but the pureness of the sport of switching the shoulders, being able to throw the jab all the way out at sometimes to utilize your length. You should be able to protect it, be in protection here, which means the only way you can protect yourself here with the jab. See that? Thumb has to be pointed down. You're switching the shoulders. A lot of times, if you want the right hand to come out quicker, you don't hold it here and then you throw it off. A lot of times, you actually keep the right hand on your belly. You keep it right in front of your chin so it can just come off like this. You don't need to reload. Like little things like that. It's just, it wasn't taught to him, or it was, and he just was able to kind of, not give a fuck about it because of, who his pops was. Where Jake Paul, on the other hand, he understands that he has to do all the fundamental shit right, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it looks slow to a lot of people who just watch this shit for the fun. Y'all don't understand how serious Jake Paul is taking this. And I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of insight. I already made this video way too long, so let's go ahead and finish this. Everything is telegraphed. Everything is slow. His right hand is terrible. Anytime he's going to try and throw that right hand against Jake Paul, he'll get counted, I promise.
Again.
And he needs to, he doesn't look at this.
Body head. There you go.
All right, guys. So I told you guys, man, in the beginning of this, hey, man, if you guys last all the way through this, I'm going to tell you every reason why Jake Paul chose this particular opponent, why he's going to win, and why, as much as I respect Hasim Rahman Jr. and his father, hey, got to get the bag. You feel me? Let me know if y'all disagree with me. Let me know how y'all feel about this video. Drop below in the comments, man. Like this motherfucker, subscribe to the channel. Much love to the people as always, man. On the All Sports and Excited Game. I'll be back. But one more boxes. Stay blessed, not stressed. I'm out for now.